Evening folks, I'm going to be having a juicy dangler tonight. It's a hammock camp in a new spot locally, and I've tried to get the weight and pack size down considerably. I always have a problem with hammock camps in particular. So I've used my Helikon Tex Bergen, which you've seen in a previous video, and the idea is it's only 18 litre with pouches, so you really have to be strict with what you bring. But you can cheat a bit by putting stuff on the top and the bottom. So just to show you on the bottom there, I've got one of those DD bishop bags that opens up either end. One half has got my Superlight tarp in it, and the other half has got the Superlight hammock and bug net. And on the top there is just a hoodie fleece thing. So I'm going to take those two bits off, and then I'm going to show you everything that's in my pack to try and get a comfortable night's sleep tonight. I think next I'll get my sit pad out. That's just there. That's a Helikon Tex one that folds out. Got a first aid kit there, which might be a bit overkill. I tend to be quite cautious with what I bring. There's a fair bit of stuff in there, but better safe than sorry. And I've also got in here, I'm going to leave it in there though, that under there, that blue thing, is I think it's a Sea to Summit trowel and some toilet paper and so on that's in there. So that's basically toilet kit should I need it. And then a smidge net here to go over my head if the mozzies get too bad. But what I will show you is, I think it's in here, one of the most important things. I've already sprayed myself with some DEET spray. Okay, let me open that. I have to keep it in this separate canvas bag because, as you may know, DEET is pretty nasty stuff. I find it's the only thing that works with mozzies. Citronella and all of that doesn't seem to touch them around here. In fact, it seems to attract them, if anything. But this sort of works, but it's really nasty stuff and it'll melt plastic. So I have to keep it in this canvas bag just in case there's any leakage, so it doesn't melt other things. While I'm here as well, I may as well take out this. That is a little bit of cutlery. There's just a titanium, you can probably see in there, there's a titanium spork there and a wooden spoon that I'll use for cooking later. Let's carry on with this pouch here at the side. I've got my ridgeline and pegs for the hammock and tarp. I've brought my candle lantern, the Yuko candle lantern with a citronella candle, and we'll see if it does anything, but I haven't had much luck with it before. And then we have here a really cheap poncho tarp. It's not my nicer Helikon Tex one, this is a lot cheaper. The idea is that I will use this as a ground sheet under the hammock, but if it did rain, and there is the odd shower potentially, but I haven't been unlucky so far, but if I was unlucky I could just throw that over me in the pack while I was walking in. In the front pouch, pretty simple, just about fits. I might need another hand here, excuse me. Yeah, that's my titanium water bottle, and there's two pans that it nestles in as well, with a lid at the back, and that's full of water. I think there's 1.1 litres of water there. In the side pouch here, with a little fire symbol on it, which helps me to remember, I've got a pair of bushcrafty leather gloves, in case I need to clear any of the area or anything. My fuel, I'm using alcohol stove tonight, so that's got bioethanol in it. And then all of my stove is in here. That would be a bit tricky for me to show you, but we have a little windshield, my usual little soldering mat that I always put underneath anything, really, just in case, to protect the ground. the Bushcraft Essentials Ultralight Bush Box, which is sort of like a trangia triangle type thing that slots together. Stove is Des Catty's little alcohol burner stove, which I've used once in the back garden and it was great, but this will be the first time I've used it properly, so to speak. And it's a fraction of the weight of the sort of quite heavy brass trangia ones. They're available on Des's Etsy. I'll put a link down below. And then I think I've just got in here a lighter and a fire steel there. In this little top pocket, which really is tiny, I've got my head torch. I've got a couple of buff snood type things. One I'll probably use as a hat. Another one I might cover my pillow with. I do have a little pillow, which I find just about right in a hammock. I think that's it, yeah, for that. On the shoulder straps here, I've got a little tripod for my phone. I haven't brought all my camera gear this time, I've just brought my phone and the GoPro, which I'm using now to do this. And the GoPro slots there. Right, main compartment then. There's a little flap here, and that's got sort of electronics in it. There's a spare battery, a little light power bank, iPhone charger cable, some headphones in case I want to listen to a podcast later, a little bit of cordage. I think that's it. My food next in this bag. Let me open it up, show you. Now, big apologies here to Ash Outdoors. He's going to think that I've ripped him off, but I'm having noodles and pepperami tonight. Now, I actually bought these a couple of days ago specifically for this camp, and then I watched his new video last night and he's done exactly the same. Promise, Ash, I'm not copying you. I do sometimes. You're an inspiration, but not this time. It's just great minds thinking alike. A bit of porridge for the morning. I'll show you that tomorrow. So there's not a lot there. There's a folding cup in there as well. Then I've got a long sleeve merino top just to keep me warm, spare socks, and then I think all we've got left now is the big ones, the DD under blanket. It isn't warm enough, even though it's June, not to have one of those. And my sleeping bag, which, can I get that out with one hand? It's a tight fit, there we go. The Snug Pack Tactical 2, which you've seen plenty of times before on my videos. That is the lot, I believe, all in that little rucksack. Okay, let's think about doing the hard work of getting it all set up then. Right, I'm done. Right, there's the Bushbox Ultralight. Here's Des's stove. You see, that goes in there. Get some alcohol into it. Okay, might have overdone that a bit. Now, I must admit, the first time I used it, I couldn't get it to light with a fire steel. So let's have a try, see if it does it this time. No. Plenty of sparks going down there, but none of them seem to be taking. Okay, so luckily I brought a lighter. Quite one. it. Okay, so maybe something to keep in mind. It's a great little thing, but I haven't had any luck yet with the fire steel. Okay. Well, that came to the boil very quick. This is actually pepperami chorizo, but I think Spanish people might have something to say about that. Well, Des's little stove is still going down there. That's impressive. Let's see how this tastes. Well, it's not exactly a tomahawk steak, but it'll do. It's very tasty. Not sure if you can hear that, but there's some kind of party going on. Sounds miles away, but it's just drifting over on the wind. It's quite nice, actually. Quite soothing. That with the sound of the wind as well in the trees. Right, well, I'm in the hammock, and as is often the case with hammocks, it's very hard to stay awake once you're in. So I think I should be getting off to sleep. I'll see you in the morning. Big shout out to Gavin, Barney's Bimbles, who has been promoting being a bit more responsible with your use of plastics when you're camping. And I must admit, it's something I've been thinking about as well. I've been using Ziploc bags, but washing them, reusing them, but they're a bit flimsy and they keep breaking. So I bought some silicone ones, much like he has. And that's got 2 pots of instant porridge in it. So let's see. Right, let's leave that for a few minutes. Okay, so that was a successful camp and it all fitted into this little bag. The weight of it, with everything in, this includes all the water and clothing and even the camera equipment, was under 11 kilos. Without the camera equipment it was, I think, about 10.5. So that's, for me, very, very light. But where were the compromises? Well, I can think of a few. Firstly, the water. I only had that 1.1 litre water bottle. Now it's been exactly the right amount to do everything I need to do comfortably, but there isn't any left now. So that means on the walk home, I could get a bit thirsty. Now, obviously I have a water filter, but it wouldn't have helped me here in this situation. There's no water anywhere nearby, unfortunately. So that's something to think about. On the subject of fluids, I didn't have any booze. Now, as it happens, that's okay because I'm having a bit of a dry spell at the moment. But if I wanted to bring some booze, that would have obviously added some weight and some bulk. I could have perhaps not brought the candle lantern, that's not essential, and put a nice strong can of beer in there instead. And I definitely had room for a little hip flask, that wouldn't have been a problem. What else? Clothing. Now, I realise that I've been very lucky with the weather. So it's been quite mild and I got away without having anything like a down jacket or too many sort of base layers or fleeces and things like that. And that obviously, that's the thing that really I find bulks out a pack, perhaps more than anything else, is the clothing that you change into when you get to camp. So if I was in worse weather, I'm not sure whether this would work. I'd probably need a bit of a bigger pack. On the subject of packs, whilst this is brilliantly designed in terms of being an efficient use of space, I find it's got one major flaw, which is a shame, and it's to do with comfort. It's not the most comfortable bag by any means, for me anyway. This bottom bit here that goes in the small of your back, it's padded. It's quite nicely padded there, but there's a little hard board behind it that sticks out lower than the padding. So that, for me, sticks into the small of my back when it's fully loaded and gets quite uncomfortable. So that padding really needs to be another centimetre lower. I'd be interested in anybody's thoughts about that, if they have this pack and if they've noticed that as well, whether it's just me. In fact, I'll be interested on everybody's thoughts on where they think I could have made more weight savings, more space savings, or even things that you definitely couldn't do without that I didn't bring. pop some comments below. I'll be interested to see those. Okay, right, well, about to pack up then, so thanks for joining me on this, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.